We're rolling.
Welcome back, everyone. This is episode 119
Correct.
of the Jiu-Jitsu Dummies podcast. Just so you know, when I say 119, we're as shocked as anybody to be at these, to have lasted this long.
No, every time we do an episode,
119.
like, we made it again.
It's just personally fulfilling. I'm sorry, everybody.
We made it again.
Yeah, you're right. They're letting us do this again.
This is like cheering yourself on for every step you take up the stairs.
I made it. We are brought to you by Black Belt Digital Marketing. Anything you need to build your business on and offline. So that's web design, Google Ads, graphics, printing. We do embroidery. We do, what else do we do? We could do like any of your promo items. Check us out at Black Belt Digital Marketing on Instagram or our website, which is bbdigitalmarketing.com. Okay, you can request a free online review of your entire online presence today. I'll send you back a video with a report. My little face is in the corner. You'll get sick of seeing me. So, my name is Milton Campus. I'm a brown belt training out of South Florida. We got Bo behind the camera.
Hola.
All right, everybody, don't forget to like, comment, share, click the subscribe button. We'd really appreciate all of the support. Joining us today is black belt Clark Gracie, right? Our first Gracie.
Our first Gracie. Yeah. We got tingly.
Right? Clark is the grandson of Carlos Gracie Sr. and son of Carly Gracie. All right, so we'll have him on in just a few minutes. A few quick shout-outs, though, first. This is a total coincidence that we're about to see this, but I lost my other pair. I'm going to find them, I swear to God. I lost my other pair of Leo optics. Thankfully, they sent us a few.
That's why they sent you a few.
I said, what did I say? Like, I don't buy expensive glasses because I'm always losing them or sitting on them or dropping them.
There you go.
But these are my new favorites. I found them.
Well, losing them means somebody found them, which in a way is promoting.
No, I know they've got to be in my house somewhere. I know, like I wore them, I had them, I put them in my bag, and I just can't find them.
Your cat's wearing them secretly.
So anyway, you want to show the screen over here, Bo?
Sure. I'm showing.
These are called Alvore da Vida, Tree of Life. I hope I said that right. Right. So these are really cool, right? These a lot of the glasses, not every single pair, most of the glasses, at least this is how it started, are made from this bamboo, right?
Very nice.
And just coincidentally, this one that I chose to wear, that I've been wearing for the last few days, was actually, there's Clark. He works with Leo Optics, and actually Leo Optics put us together with Clark. So thank you both. Thank you, Lionel, and thank you, Clark, for joining us. But check them out, reasonably priced. I've always paid like probably $100 or more for a good pair of glasses.
Yeah.
And super lightweight. Love them. Love the little, you get a picture of that part, right? You got the little, our jiu-jitsu red stripe that indicates that usually it's just on the black belt. Doesn't mean that you're a black belt. It's okay to buy them, guys. But I love these. They're great. They fit great. I got a big head. So
need one
a lot of times they
your,
squeeze the side of my head,
Need one to match your coral belt.
No, the core belt's something way different. We'll educate you on that one day. So check out Leo Optics website, leooptics.com. Use code JJD for 10% off your order. On our Instagram, there's a Linktree link. If you click that, you can visit all these sponsors and even Black Belt. Everybody that we talk about today, they'll have a link there. Thank you to our friends over at Flow and Roll. Hands down, the best custom gi and no-gi gear in the business. Love working with Sean. I talk to him probably for a couple of hours every couple of weeks. We bounce ideas off of each other. He did a custom no-gi kit for us, so he's a pleasure to work with. Check them out on Instagram at flow_n_roll. Check out not only their T-shirt designs and really cool stuff they have, but the custom work that they do for academies all over the country. If you have not visited that site, or you're a gym owner and you haven't had a conversation with Sean about his pre-order program, just imagine a gym owner right now. Somebody's got to be listening to us that has written a check for 5, 10, maybe even 15 grand to get gis, no gi tops, right? Get a kit, shorts, top, a full gi, belts, all of that stuff. You lay out all this money and then you have all this inventory. Well, he's got a pre-order program. Flow and Roll has a pre-order program where you can put very little out of pocket. He'll design your custom kits, your gi, your no-gi stuff, and You pay very little out of pocket. They do a pre-order program on their website. So students or anybody that wants to order your stuff, they're actually ordering it before it's created. He'll send that stuff directly to him, and you're basically like using the money that people have paid towards the order. So you don't have to lay it out of your pocket. You'll still get inventory after the pre-order is completed, but you're helping pay for your own order. What an amazing way to do it. Who does that? Bo, I mean, right? Who's like, hey, listen,
very smart.
We'll work this out, and so you have to take very little out of your pocket. It's not like he's keeping more than you would have. It's not. It's just a way to help you get your stuff.
It's a very cooperative way of doing business.
Students, fans are able to buy your stuff. He takes the payment. He sends it directly to them.
Especially if they're new gyms, they have so much to lay out to begin with.
Yeah,
they don't have a lot of spare change laying around.
Just so, it's the way that we did the no-gi kit.
Yeah.
So we had the top and the bottom. We put the pre-order. People ordered it. I ordered more as inventory. I sent them a check for, or made an online payment for a few $100s. I did the reorder. We have he has our stuff on it. He actually sends out our stuff, so he just keeps it. Mm-hmm. So we have like a kind of a different deal in that regard. But I've had to take very little out of pocket to work with Sean, have these amazing designs done. So we actually just got in more gear. So if you want to check out the Peace Love Jiu-Jitsu Rash Guard, again, go to our Instagram, click on the link tree, go to Flow and Roll, and you can check out we're on their team page. If you click on the menu option, it says team, click on that, drop down. We're right at the top. It says Jiu-Jitsu Dummies, and you can see he's got T-shirts. He's got our no-gi kit. We're going to wind up doing a gi with him. And I know that coffee mugs are next because we always send out coffee mugs now. We use a different provider, and I'm going to start using Sean.
Cool.
All right. Okay.
And, is there a code with him?
Oh, yeah. So we got check them out again on Instagram at flow_n_roll. And it's Flow and Roll, the letter N, roll.com. Get 20% off your online orders with code JJD. You're not getting 20% off your pre-orders. As a gym owner, you're not getting 20% off your pre-order.
That's a separate deal.
If you're buying something online, get 20% off with code JJD.
Did Sean bust your nuts about calling it Fro and Roll last time? How many people comment?
Hey, listen,
comment in the box. Comment on how many people heard him say Fro and Roll.
I make this look easy, but every once in a while, You
went all 70s.
It's funny. It's not like I do it every day, right? So when we do it once a week, I'm saying the same stuff and reading shout outs, but I still like to read it off because
check out Fro and Roll. Fro and Roll.
All right. Screw you, buddy. Thank you to the BJJ box for all your support as well. They're Jiu-Jitsu's favorite monthly subscription box. It's delivered to your front door, filled with premium Jiu-Jitsu, grappling apparel, equipment, supplements, supplies, snacks, and more. They find the best products out there in the world of jiu-jitsu and guarantee that every box is going to be worth more than the cost. We usually get anywhere from 4 to 7 items. We get ours. We have the VIP box. We get a T-shirt. There are other boxes where you can get a rash guard. I think that one's more of a quarterly box. But check them out. It's the BJJbox.com. Use coupon code JJD10 for $10 off your first order, okay? And hopefully we'll have a box on the next episode to do an unboxing. Shout out to Neutral Zone CBD. Did I do that right? Hold on. Neutral Zone CBD. I don't want you to tease me next episode. No matter if your aches and pains are coming from lifting weights at the gym, rolling on the mats, or just the daily grind of life, Neutral Zone has a product for you. Find your Neutral Zone by finding the best products for your pain wellness so you can continue your active lifestyle. Tinctures, salves, roll-ons. They've a million different products there. Something for everyone. Check them out at neutralzonecbd.com, and you can get 25% off with code JJD. Okay?
Nice.
All righty. There you go. I only messed up one name.
Who?
When I said Neutral Zone, I think I caught myself.
Neutral Zone.
All right, people. Let's do this. Let's get Clark in here, man. Welcome, Clark. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
You just told us you're a little jet lagged. You're coming in from where again?
Yeah, I just came in from a Asia trip. So I was in Korea and Hong Kong doing some seminars at our affiliate schools. Oh,
very cool. Very cool, man. Well, thank you for joining us. I appreciate you taking the time. I know you're super tired. So we'll dive right in. Obviously, typically a lot of times we do when did you get your start in jiu-jitsu? It feels like such a weird question to ask any Gracie. Including you. It's just like, well, you kind of were born into it. But tell us about your early life. Tell us about what it's like growing up as a Gracie.
Yeah, I think has a lot of expectations, you know, to like just follow that path. But, you know, I was exposed to it early on, of course, me and my siblings. And, but at the time, jiu-jitsu in the US, because I was one of the first Gracies born in the US, there wasn't really a lot of jiu-jitsu going on. And this was even, you know, before UFC, you know. So when I was about 10 years old, almost 10 years old, was like the first UFCs. And then it started to really pick up, and my dad's teaching started really picking up. So that's when I was able to, you know, get a lot more involved, get busier with it. So it was a good time. Good age, I think, start too.
Let's talk about the lineage. Your grandfather is Carlos Gracie Sr.
Correct.
And your dad?
Carle Gracie.
Carle Gracie.
Yeah.
And when did you actually wind up stepping on the mats? Again, I got to imagine you probably, you know, you're around it, you see it, but when did you actually start training?
Yeah, I really started training. I was like 10 years old.
Okay. Did you was it, you just took to it, or like, you know, some kids, I'll be at the gym and like the new kid starting is like, I don't want to go home, mommy. You know, were you totally into it and it was just a thing? Or did you have, you know, kind of like, I don't really want to be here. I'd rather go watch the cartoons or something.
Honestly, I never really thought about like not doing it. Honestly, I don't know. I just would go to school and then come there after, you know, and that was just like regular part of my day. And I think somewhere in my adolescence, my teenage years, somebody asked me, do you like jiu-jitsu or do you just do it? You know, and I'm like, I actually never thought about that before. I just, you know, I did something that I do, but then I thought, yeah, I guess I do like it. You know, I just have fun with it. And I think I'm liking it more and more every day until now. You know, I just keep having more and more fun with it.
Very cool. There's you know, I pulled it up and I was showing my producer. I guess we could call it a famous picture. There's a famous picture of you like in an omoplata and you're holding the guy's back and you're just looking over. I mean, that thing turned into a meme, right? You know, you know, Google Clark Gracie and go to images and just scroll down a little bit and you're gonna find it. In that moment, and you're kind of looking over your shoulder. What were you looking at? Do you remember? I would imagine maybe you're looking at the scoreboard.
Yeah, to tell you the truth, that was a New York Open, and they didn't have the big screens, you know. So they had those little things you flip over, little cards, and like a timer, you know, like a hand.
Oh, so you're not even seeing the time. You don't even know how much time.
Oh, wow. So I was always telling my corner, who was, you know, I was in New York Open just with some friends, and I was looking over at my friend Sophia, who was this girl from Mexico. She was like yelling at me, a good friend of mine, and I was looking over to ask her. You know, I just said, all you need to do is tell me time and points. Like, I just want to know that, you know, like pretty clearly throughout the match, because, you know, you got to know, right?
Did that picture, like, when you saw that picture, do you remember what year that is?
That was 2012.
Okay, so the internet's already around. It's not what it is today. Did that make its rounds like early on? Was that like, I'm seeing it everywhere and people are writing things over it, like the meme world? I don't know if 2012 how far we were into like memes and things like that. Do you remember that time?
Yeah, it was like.
Did it make its rounds?
That picture exploded in 2013, right after I won the Pan Ams.
Yeah, and
you know, I thought the picture, when I heard about people were saying, oh, on Reddit, your picture's going crazy, and I was like, really? I thought it was a picture from the tournament that I did the day before, which was Pan Am Finals. But it was actually from the year before at New York Open, and so it was exploding at that time. And I think memes were like, just getting started. Yeah, you know, I wasn't even super familiar with memes, but it was just starting. So now the omoplatas, you're known for the omoplata, and I think you have several variations that you've maybe coined the name to. Or tell us a little bit about your like, when you started using the omoplata, when you kind of found out, like, this is my go-to move, like, you know, or is it, or do you have others? Yeah, I have others, but omoplata is something that I feel really, really confident with, and something that I probably started drilling when I was a kid, like a teenager. You know, I used to like to do lasso guard. I think lasso guard works really well with omoplata. I think it was like the kind of up-and-coming guard at the time. But then around brown belt, it was like this trend to, like, you know, drill a ton. And I was like, well, I don't know what to drill. And then I had this like sweep that I like to do along with the omoplata. And then I just started doing more and more. And I started catching it. And then I started challenging myself to get it on people. They already knew it was coming, in training. Like, oh, Clark does omoplata. And I was just like, only do omoplata, just like mess with them,
Yeah.
But then I started getting some other variations off it, which became fun, which was like the choke that I did in the Pan Am finals that year, 2013, which was kind of became popular. And people started calling it Clarkoplata. I don't think anybody really ever did an omoplata choke combination like that. Since then, there's been a few people that have done versions of that and variations. And then a little bit later, I did a variation which was really crazy in 2018, which we call it Pretzelplata.
Okay.
Pretzelplata, which also involves like the opposite leg. So the guy's completely twisted up. And I did that. I did that in the finals of Nogi Worlds. And that got submission of the year by Flow Grappling.
Oh, wow.
And so I was able to name it Pretzelplata. So those variations, were kind of became popular and people seek me out because of that. But I think omoplata is just kind of a not a super common submission. I mean, obviously it's always there, but people don't always use it to submit it with, right? So
I feel like it's one of those like, oh, I'm here. Oh, I'm in an omoplata. Like, right. And you're like, you wind up sitting up, I definitely, people can make it happen, but I know for me, it's always like, oh shit, I'm here. Oh, let me sit up. I'm in a good spot. Here it goes. It's like I caught his arm. So as a multiple time world champion, right? Gi and no gi, IBJJF champion. I wanted to do a little bit something different. Our podcast originally 4 years ago was conceived around like giving advice to like the newbies. Not that we've gotten away from that, but I just wanted to do a little something different with you today. I wanted to go through the belt ranks from white to black and just talk about kind of like the common, like our, I don't want to say misconceptions, but like the, what would the word be, Bo? Like the things that we, like spazzy white belt and like blue belts quit, right? I kind of want to go through that. And I'd like to maybe get your advice to each one of those belt ranks. I'm a brown belt probably in the next year, knock on wood. I stay healthy. I would hope to have a black belt. So I know I'm going through a lot of this where I'm one of the higher belts and I'm always giving advice. So I don't, other than my coach, I'm not getting a lot of advice. I'm one of the higher ranks in my gym. So let's start with white belt. So white belt, what is the, what do we call white belts, right? There's a spazzy white belt just getting started. What's your advice to somebody who's just getting started in jiu-jitsu?
White belt, the hardest belt to get, walking in the door, getting that belt, throwing it on for the first time, breaking through your ego, getting through that. But just got to, stick with it. And I think the first month is always the hardest, right? Because you're taking a pounding, you're, bashing your ego, you're learning a ton. It's overwhelming, but just be patient, take it all in, talk to people, ask questions, show good attitude, because no one wants to help someone who's like arrogant in the sport, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just, be humble and show that you're happy to learn, with a good attitude. And that usually helps people open up to you and want to help you.
Do you have talks with your higher belts, so like blue and beyond? I recognize as a business owner, I don't have a gym. I have a marketing company kind of related to what we do here. And, I'm always telling people, be gentle with the white belts, right? You've got to make them feel welcome. Some people might look at this like, white belts are like food, but no, they're not. They're supposed to be your friends, right? Yummy. And you want them for your coach, right? For the sake of the business, you do want them to come back next week, next month. Yeah. You want them to love this. I'm always telling white belts, if you have somebody that's really beating up on you, the best thing you could do is what you just said, is ask questions. When somebody who's kind of maybe doesn't know you and is really taking it to you and really kind of, just constantly submitting you ask them questions and you put them in this teacher role, they kind of calm down. I find that they tend to calm down a little bit. And they're like, oh, they feel a little bit good that somebody's asking them questions, and then they take this teacher role, and the relationship becomes a little different. It's what I've told white belts. Look, if the guy's always kicking your ass, ask him questions. Ask him to start in a certain position. What are your thoughts on that? What do you tell your higher belts?
Yeah, I think it's very common for white belts to come out and they're just like, feel like they're in a street fight, you know, so much adrenaline. And you see these purple belts and brown belts just like kind of really flowing, like super casually shaking hands, making grips, like just this easy flow, you know, and then it escalates with time, right, and intensity. But yeah, nobody likes a spazzy white belt. And, you know, you see white on white crime, white belt making each other, you know, and you see these white belts hurt each other. And then one of them doesn't come back or gets a bad, you know, gets rubbed the wrong way and you know, thinks, okay, this isn't for me. What am I doing? You know, I've had white belts tell me, like, they, you know, finish training, go sit in their car, and they're like, what the hell am I doing? You know, I just got ordered for a whole hour. You know, why am I doing this to myself? You know, but it's those uncomfortable situations in anything we do in life that makes us really grow, right? Yeah. And, you know, in the upper belts, we really reap the benefits of those things, not just in our training, but even in our personality, our level of discipline, our mental stability, you know, for things like that. I
was rolling the other day, and I had it was a white belt, and he's a pretty big and strong dude. I'm maybe like 5'10", 5'11", 230, and he's taller and heavier than me, and he's always goes so hard. And I took it to him a little bit, and when we were done, he was just like, I could see him being like, wow, that was a great roll. That was so hard. He's like, man, but you're always kicking my ass. And I go, I'm about to go roll with that guy over there. It's a purple belt, half my age. I go, watch this. He's going to kick my ass. It happens. You know, it's just like different belts and different ages and strengths, right? He's about to do to me what I just did to you, because the kid is like a judo brown belt, a purple belt in jiu-jitsu, you know, again, works out every day. He's taller, thinner, stronger, faster. I'm like, you know, shit rolls downhill, basically. We all have somebody that's going to take it to us. So don't be so quick to, like, you know, oh God, I'm always getting beat up. Everybody gets beat up. I saw I hope he doesn't listen to this.
Don't be a wuss.
My professor got tapped out by a brown belt from another school the other day. I was just like, holy shit. It was right in front of me. I was like, holy shit. I never saw my professor tap to anybody before. So again, it happens to everybody, and if you stick to it, you're gonna, you know, it's gonna all work out. So let's talk about sticking to it and blue belts, right? So blue belts, what are they known for, right? Not only you know, kind of getting a little cocky when they get their blue belts, but they're also known for quitting, right? Yeah. The blue belt curse. Thoughts on that? Does that happen in your school? And what do you tell blue belts when maybe they come to you and say they're thinking about quitting?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't get that conversation too often, but you know, after, you know, a year, you know, things happen in people's lives. You know, they move, things happen, right? Where that makes them stop training sometimes, or not training with you. But yeah, I think people kind of sometimes think like, all right, you know, I know a little bit, I know enough to like take care of myself now. You know, I didn't really start jiu-jitsu to become a world champion or anything, so I understand what I got myself into, and you know, let me try something different. But I think a lot of times people get that itch, and it's hard to stop as well. But you know, maybe it's ego. I don't know. Blue belts is yeah, it's one of those dangerous belts. But you know, blue and purple, I think, have that same thing, because they're like pretty solid already, you know, and as we go up, we see more and more people drop off, right? Yeah. But yeah, we like to say blue belts, like, they know the basics. So maybe once they feel like, okay, I got, you know, a good handle on what I'm studying, like, they feel like they don't need to do that forever.
I've gotten the feeling sometimes that white belts will sometimes make the blue belt the goal. I got there. Mm-hmm. You know, some schools, they might do it in, you know, under a year, and you know, some schools might wait, you know, might do it, you know, 2 years, depending on time on the mat. Are you competing? I feel like they tend to, like, I got my, I'm not a white belt anymore. I stopped and I got a belt, so I can have that. I can say that, like almost like it's a bragging right, but I don't necessarily feel, you know, not everybody's like that, but people that I've spoken to or people that have left, it felt like that was the goal, and they knew, like, yeah, this isn't for me, but I want to get the blue belt, and then I'm going to stop. I mean, you're a gym owner. I'm not, sure. You know, kind of from the outside, maybe looking in, and just some of the people I've conversated with. And again, it's felt like they thought, okay, got it. All right, I'm done. And again, you know, I could take care of myself. I know enough. But then, okay, now we get to purple belt. I heard Joe Rogan the other day say, and I don't necessarily agree with this. He goes, well, when you're a purple belt, you're pretty much a black belt. And I was like, what? I get where he was going, where he's just like, you know so much that there's so much that you know, but now you're fine-tuning. You're really kind of, I think, maybe developing a game or like an omoplata. Right? You're developing like, okay, I've got this move that I love to do, and then you start to learn different things about it. What are your thoughts there on purple belt?
Style.
What's a common stereotype of a purple belt, if there is one? I'm not sure, other than not showing up for warm-ups.
Yeah, I like to say purple belt is kind of like you've read the book of jiu-jitsu, you've seen all the techniques, now you're personalizing it, right? Like at blue belt, blue to purple, you've learned so much. And now you're creating your own style of it, your own setups, your own strategies, your personalized style. Are you a guard puller? Are you a passer? Do you like takedowns? Do you know what are your favorites? You know, you don't just like kind of dabble and know a little bit of everything. You actually have narrowed down a little bit to know what you actually are where your strengths are, right? And kind of defining your personal game.
But my coach, he'll tell me, he'll see me roll, and I love the north-south choke, and my coach is huge on the lockdown and like electric chair and all the types of sweeps there, like an X guard into the lockdown, and we're constantly learning it, so that's one of my moves. But when he sees me doing the same thing all the time, I feel like I'm going with the like, hey, do it 10,000 times mantra, and I'm gonna perfect it. He tells me I'm spamming. He says, you're spamming. You're doing it too much. And I'm like, but I thought I was supposed to do it 10,000 times to, you know. And I honestly, I don't really listen to that part of it. But I think he's trying to get me to just, to try some different things. But did you feel that with the omoplata? I think you kind of said something about that before. Do you feel like it's like, everybody, I don't want to be a one-trick pony, basically. Did you have that thought go through your head?
Yeah, somebody had made a comment one time when I was competing a ton, saying, "Oh, as long as you don't get omoplata, you might do better. You'll be okay." That thing, and I was like, "Oh man, I'm gonna have to start like
Hold on, I got a bag of tricks right here for you."
Yeah, and then I started doing a bunch of kimuras. So I think I have one of the super solid kimura, not just kimura, but kimura game like all around. I released a couple of instructionals on kimura, but also omoplata. But that's another one of my strengths. But I really also like chokes. But yeah, I think it's good to challenge yourself. And in my academy, we focus on a certain area on the ground every week. It changes, right? So during that week, I'll make a goal to like get to that position and finish from there. So it might be a different submission that's it's not my favorite, it's not my main thing, or even this position, like for a while I think I felt like, man, I don't finish people on the back too often, it's like not really my strong point. So let me try all this week. I'm just going to get to the back and try to finish people from the back, and I felt like even within one training session, my back attacks were better than when I started,
It's very fulfilling to know. I've done that, and I've been like, I'm going to go and try this move or a variation of what my coach is teaching. We usually do like a series for the entire month. So he just keeps on adding on to that series for one full month. And I'll go home and I'll usually find like a video or two. I want to see some variations of what he's taught, how other people are doing. Again, I'm a bigger guy, so sometimes I'm not very flexible. I'm older. This doesn't work for me that way. So I've got to find what I'm doing wrong. So I'll kind of look up and kind of figure out what's going to work for me. Obviously, you're wearing a BJJ Fanatics T-shirt. Yeah. What are you telling your students about consuming jiu-jitsu outside of the gym? Are you get that instructional? Are you telling them? I know it. Let's kind of break it down this way. The old Clark, when you were younger, before the internet was what it is, was there a different view on it? And what is your view now with instructionals and watching videos and students trying things that they're seeing before they're actually taught in the gym?
Yeah, I'm not that old though, you know what I mean?
No, I would say I'm old. I'm old.
The internet was around.
Yeah. Well, in the earlier days when it wasn't what it is now, right? But pre BJJ Fanatics, pre really YouTube blowing up like it is. Yeah, I didn't want to call you old.
Thank you to Feito IT and AV, specializing in commercial and residential automation, security cameras, CCTV, POS, and more. Check them out at feitoitav.com or call 305-428-2515 and let them know the dummy sent you. Thank you to Neutral Zone CBD, a combat family-owned company that supports athletes and the people who love them. Neutral Zone strives to deliver clean CBD products for sports recovery in gummies, lotions, balms, roll-ons, and more. After a competition, a hard rolling session, or a tough day on the job, Neutral Zone has a product designed to help you reduce inflammation, increase cell rejuvenation, and may even help with aging joints. Visit NeutralZoneCBD.com and get 25% off your order with code JJD. And follow them on Instagram too, at MyNeutralZone. Jiu-Jitsu's favorite monthly subscription box has now joined the Jiu-Jitsu Dummies podcast. The BJJ box is delivered to your door filled with premium jiu-jitsu and grappling apparel, equipment, supplements, supplies, snacks, and more. The crew at the BJJ box find the best in the world of jiu-jitsu and guarantee every box to be worth more than the cost. Each box includes 4 to 7 items you're going to love. Visit thebjjbox.com and use code JJD10 to get $10 off your very first box, and give them a follow on Instagram at thebjjbox. Special thank you to the crew over at Flow and Roll for all their support. Flow and Roll is renowned for their incredible no-gi rash guards, shorts, and leggings. Flow and Roll has quickly become the premier custom apparel provider for academies big and small throughout the United States. Reach out today to discuss your custom order and ask about their incredible pre-order program. You can send an email to flowandroll@gmail.com or visit their Instagram at flow_n_roll and shoot them a direct message. And yes, they can create an awesome custom gi for your academy as well. Visit flowandroll.com to check out their awesome designs, and while you're there, pick up a Jiu-Jitsu Dummy signature tee exclusively at flowandroll.com. And remember, you'll get 20% off your purchase of t-shirts, rash guards, or gis with code JJD.
Now I'm just thinking like what was actually going on in the internet, at that time. Well, I got my black belt in 2010, and I mean, I was kind of like, I don't even want to post what I'm doing, because
you want anybody to see it, right?
To study me, because that was super common, right? Oh, you got this guy in your bracket, study his game, see what he does. Is he a guard puller? What kind of submissions does he like? So I was kind of against sharing too much at that time. But, with time, I just got more relaxed about it. And I think, there was this like stigma about being this YouTube blue belt kind of thing, where you just go online every day and learn these things that don't necessarily work, but how would you know any different? Right. Or these guys that, don't really even train too much or don't train, they just watch YouTube videos. Nowadays, though, there's a lot of good content out there, but you still have to filter through, and I think a lot of people will post just anything. And there's a lot of stuff that isn't the best, but yeah, you can definitely learn stuff, and, finding people that specialize in a certain area, which you'll find a lot on these instructionals, like BJJ Fanatics has a lot of good stuff. And they contacted me about doing omoplata instructional. And then I, told them, hey, I'd like to do a Kimura instructional as well, because it's something that I really do well. I actually get more Kimuras probably than omoplatas really, but my finishing rate on omoplatas is really high. But yeah, so I think it can be good. But to answer your question, I think it's like a bonus, like a supplemental part of your training, but it's not something that you can just rely on. Like, oh, I'm just going to study online and go practice, with some friends,
Yeah, when I first started jiu-jitsu, I just went home and just like watched everything. And I'd actually, in the beginning, I'd bring my iPad and I'd tell my coach, it was a brand new gym. So I was like his first student. So it was very small school. And I used to bring the iPad and be like, hey, can we work on this? And it annoyed him in the beginning. And then as we started training at the end of class, he'd be like, all right, what do you got for me today? And I'd be like, oh, okay, cool. And I would show him the moves. So it just became part of what we did, that, he would show me the basics. He'd show me a more advanced move during our training. And then he would he would like let me, pick something out. So I did that in the beginning, and I tell people all the time, before I used to just watch everything. Now I tell people, go on, take whatever move we did that day or the series that we're doing, look at that. Why wouldn't you really try to perfect that? So don't just go again and just like try to grab anything off the internet. Go find what the coach is teaching you, and then you're going to see all these variations, and at least you've got the starting point. You're learning that starting point from your coach, and then maybe introduce a little trick here and there, and I think that that's a pretty healthy way of doing it rather than finding some crazy, move and hurting somebody. And you know what? With that being said, am I wrong in the case, if you don't mind talking about it, the case that just happened with, I think it's Greenlee? Were you the
expert witness?
The expert witness for the defense.
Yeah.
We actually had an attorney on a couple of weeks ago, and he kind of like went back and forth on it a little bit. He just kind of like went through some of the kind of like the intricacies of the actual law. So from your side, like I didn't hear your name at first. Like so much was put behind Henner and like the 46 million. When you started to see all that stuff, what were you thinking? What were you like your name didn't get thrown out there like his did, but what were you thinking when everybody started to attack him like that?
Well, I think the idea that I'm reading a lot of people's comments and seeing what people have to say about it, but it was kind of scary because it really makes people feel there's a lot of scammers out there, and it opens the door for people to think like, okay, if I get hurt, I'll just sue this academy and make millions, So we don't want people to have that. I've heard of stories of like people in wheelchairs go knock on doors and see, can I use your bathroom? And if it's not handicap, by the regulation,
accessible,
then they're legal to sue. They can sue them. But as long as the owner says, "Oh, we don't have public bathrooms," then you're good. But there's people that just, that's a business in itself, unfortunately. So Henner was hired to do that case, and so he did his job. He did his part, and I did mine. And that's pretty much it. But I mean, it was it's crazy the amount that's in it. I think the media tried to twist people's perception of the case, like saying this guy gets paralyzed as a white belt, got paralyzed by a black belt, and but actually the guy made like pretty close to a full recovery. Anyways, I think they're appealing the case and things are going on, and I'm probably not fully at liberty to talk about it. But it went crazy, right? All over the internet. Everybody knew.
Yeah. I think once I heard Henner do, he did an Instagram live with Tom the Boss. I'm not sure if you saw that. I think it shed a little bit more light on it, and it really started to make sense. And anybody who was hating on him was like, okay, I get it. I kind of see everything. He did some stuff with the video and showed the guy's arm getting trapped and things like that. So we'll move on from that. So let's get to brown belt. I'm a brown belt. I remember what it was like to get my brown belt. I'm almost a black belt, right? What are the stereotypes of brown belt? Are there any? I don't know that there are a lot of negative stereotypes for brown belt. But what are your expectations of a brown belt in your gym?
I expect them to, like I said, in purple, defining their game. So I think at brown belt, you know what you do well. Like you said, you like the head and arm choke. That's like a strong position for you. Now creating more and more strategies, so you know what you do well. You define your style. You're still defining your style, making it better and better. You can learn techniques a lot easier, faster by maybe just watching them. But I think mainly what I look for is, can you lose a position? Like, let's say you're going for an armbar, and now you were able to, someone escaped your armbar, but now you're on to the next submission, or you're connecting into a sweep out of it. You're looking into like the positive side of the scramble, right? Mm-hmm. So you're not you're making seamless transitions between one technique to the other. Yeah,
you start to think, I guess, like, what do they say? Like a few moves ahead, you kind of know, well, if this isn't working out, I know that I'm going right here. And you kind of have I have a plan, but I didn't think about the plan. Like I guess that we go back to that invisible jiu-jitsu, I guess, right? Right. You kind of just start to know where your body is and what the next good move is, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And sometimes you're reacting without even thinking about it, right? It's becoming instinctual at that point.
Yeah. So do your brown belts in your school, are they, is there a conscious conversation with them? I know, like, I'm always happy to help somebody, or if there's a new guy coming in, they know, like, oh, you can put him with Milton. He's going to give him like the jiu-jitsu 101, and they might be doing something crazy over here, but I'll take them and I'll, okay, let me start in your guard or start in my guard, and we'll do a sweep and break the guard, sweep, side control, things like that. Do your brown belts, is it just kind of like a given, like, hey, you're supposed to help people? You're not here to beat up the new guys, but you should be taking the role as a kind of an unofficial coach.
Yeah. I mean, I don't ask them to like walk around the room or anything like that. They may see someone struggling close by and be like, hey, I'm going to help this person out, or pair them with someone who's newer or new, just to make sure they feel welcome and they feel guided through the beginning. But I also think it's important that these upper belts don't do too much of that. I think brown belts can get kind of caught up like being that assistant coach kind of a deal, and miss out on a lot of like important training for themselves. They need to have those like really tough rounds. They need to just battle a ton, and really like condition them for what's coming next, at black belt, because, I think there's a time for being a coach and there's a time for development, so sparring time, I think, is important to have like good, tough rounds.
My co-host Miguel, who's not with us today, he's on a little hiatus from the show. He says, I'm always talking about, again, being nice to the lower belts because you don't want them to quit. And one time on the show, he looked at me and he says, it's okay to be mean sometimes, Milton. And I'm like, oh, okay, right. And then the other day, I was actually, I texted him. He sent me a picture of him training, and I texted him back, and I was like, I was very mean tonight. And he was like, good. It's good to be mean sometimes. And I just went harder with my rolls, and maybe not just beating up on white belts, but just rolling harder. I tend to, again, I'm that guy that like, I'll go out of my way to help somebody and maybe not get my rounds in, as much. But that one day I told him, like, I was mean. So now let's, so you just said, like, for somebody like me, now black belt, the common, not a stereotype for black belt, but the common, I think the saying is, right, it's like, it all starts at black belt, something like that. Like, right, the journey really begins at black belt. As somebody who's had that black belt since when? 2010. Yeah. Do you remember that time? Like, okay, training it became different. It got harder. What do you remember about that time of getting your black belt?
Yeah, I think mentally wise, I feel like I had nothing to lose anymore, because, I was just, I was in my prime. I'm like stepping into competition a ton. I start competing more than ever. I feel like I almost don't even remember before black belt as much, like I remember like bits and pieces of it, but black belt, you really like the memories become a little bit more, everything becomes a little bit more, carries more weight, and, but black belt, it's like you're starting over in the way that, like, it's, you're again at the bottom, if you're a new black belt. And there's all different kinds of black belts out there, right? And there's people that get their black belt and then they get scared of losing, and then they just decide to not train anymore, really. Or especially if you're like a big fish in a small pond, you're on some place isolated in the world where there's not a lot of jiu-jitsu, and you just, you don't want to risk, you want to keep that reputation of just being the top guy. So, you just kind of stop training. So I really respect the guys that are, able to stay humble and are okay, like tapping and challenging themselves, even with, like, you said your instructor, fighting against, visitor brown belts or whoever, and, going hard against, anybody, and not being afraid to get humbled by somebody still,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're talking about winning and losing. So let's talk about the competition side of things. I would consider myself, some people tell me to stop saying this, but I consider myself a hobbyist. I have a day job. I do the podcast. I run a company. I do the podcast. And these days, I'm probably training, I would say maybe 5 to 6 days. Our school is open 7 days, and I've turned it on as I know that I'm getting closer to black belt, and the coaches say a little something like, "Oh, it's coming soon," and I've just felt like it's my responsibility to earn it, not to just, I had been down to training maybe 2 to 3 days a week for a while, and now I'm there 5 days, 6 days a week, open mats on Saturday and Sunday. Very lucky that our gym is open 7 days a week. It's different, but again, I consider myself a hobbyist. I competed a little bit at white through purple. What are you telling guys about the competition side of the world? Again, you've got guys that come into this and they do it as a profession, right? They are professional competitors, and then you have your hobbyists. What's the conversation like with somebody who's training with you? Are you pushing them to compete, or is it really, if you want to compete, come to me and I'm going to guide you?
I think it's beneficial to compete at every level, and you hear a lot of people talk about the difference of training with people that are competitors and that are not. A little bit of like the timing and the intensity and the attention to being in a dangerous position and explosivity. But I think in the end, like what's most important is that you just have fun with jiu-jitsu, man. You just get out there and train and enjoy the art of what it is, the creativity of it, the physical side of it, and the mental side of it. You're going to reap the benefits, just from being on the mat and just being around good people and continuing. Jiu-jitsu is going to be developing around you, whether you like it or not, whether you're developing or not. And I think keeping your mind open to learning new stuff as it continues to develop, whether you create it, someone else creates it, just keeping an open mind and like this, black belt is the beginning, but jiu-jitsu never stops growing. So, I mean, if you just stop training at black belt, eventually you kind of regress, because it's moving forward. So you got to keep moving forward with it.
Well, man, when I'm out for like a week, if I get a cold or I'm sick, when I come back, there's I feel you're rusty. Like there's a little bit of like ring rust, even after just a short amount of time. So I know for me, like during COVID, I had also blown out my knee the day before I was going into quarantine for work, like in that March when it started. So like, okay, if I had to blow out my knee, at least going into COVID and, things were closing down out here. For somebody that's off the mat for like, let's say they've been off the mat. What would you tell a guy to get him back in the gym? Like, okay, you made it to whatever belt. It doesn't have to be black belt. Is there a time like, hey, listen, just get back in the gym? Do you have those conversations with people who have left? And it's just like, there's always a guy that's just like, yeah, I'm going to get back in. I'm going to come back in. What's your conversation with a guy like that?
Honestly, I kind of consider everybody in the academy kind of like extended family, So, I can tell people like, yeah, your jiu-jitsu is doing great. You're getting, you're moving forward. Don't lose your progress. But really, it's just like, hey, man, we miss you, man. Come back and train, come hang out, come be part of, stay part of the community, stay connected to us, So just as like if you haven't seen your brother in a while, your family, your cousin, it's like, hey, let's get back together again. It's just like the common area where we all hang out. So it's, just kind of creating that strong family environment, and because I think the community of jiu-jitsu is what's so unique to others compared to other sports. There's a different kind of intimacy, if you will, in jiu-jitsu in comparison to other sports, and how our egos are mashed and developed, and in jiu-jitsu, and how we get to know each other, is different. We might not know each other's name, but we've sweated on each other, we've put weight on each other, we've put our hands all over each other's necks, and
The sweat in the eyeball, that's the one that gets me.
Like, hey, what's your name again?
Right into the eye socket.
Yeah, man, you don't get to know somebody that well usually, so I think it's very easy to become close to someone. Might be easy also to get upset with someone, but you see people's real personalities coming out.
Yeah.
And I think, so it's always tough when people, you see someone leave, someone, whether it's your training partner or a lot of time to me as a student, as seeing students leave, it's like, man, like you're doing well. I put all this into you, this time into you. But mainly it's like, you've become part of our family and we don't want you to go.
Is there as a coach and as a gym owner, do you feel like a certain, I don't want to use the word like loss, or did I fail the student? Do you ever have like that internal struggle of like, wow, what did I do wrong that he's leaving? Does that ever happen to you?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it doesn't happen too often that I have to have those conversations. I mean, maybe people make stuff up and tell me like I have to stop training because of this reason. But
I'm moving, and then you see them at the supermarket 3 weeks later. Where'd you go?
Yeah, I mean, in the end, you got to respect people's decision. They are still the client, right? They're still it's their membership, it's their choice, so they're the customer. And but yeah, I mean, I think you do your best to give them a good environment. You care about everybody. You show that you really care that they're there, and don't blow them off like another number, and it's tough for people to leave, it's tougher to see people leave from both sides. But yeah,
all right.
I mean,
so I do have a listener question. I'm going to preface this with: Are you still competing? You competed last year, right? You still?
I competed last year. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you going to be competing throughout this year, or where you're at?
Yeah.
Where are you at?
I'm competing, not as much as I have before, but I still think it's healthy to stay active and have a goal and continue training. I don't think it's going to happen to me where I'm like, completely just like let myself go and, just get too relaxed where I'm, not even sparring anymore. But okay. I think I would like to continue to have like at least one tournament a year. Mm-hmm. So I've always thought like, Master of the Worlds is a good one. And I don't know if I'm going to do that forever, but, every time I do it, I'm happy I did it. I'm happy I challenged myself, trained for it, developed my game, and stepped up to that challenge, felt the adrenaline, felt alive as much as you can at that moment. So I think it's a good thing to just have one little focus a year at least.
Okay.
Something to try. Yeah.
So we had a listener question that's talking about competition. It's his Instagram handle is the Nimble Yeti. He says, Clark, what is your fondest memory of the process of competition?
I think is that feeling right before you step on the mat and you feel like that adrenaline, like you feel like you're about to step into battle, let's go out to war. And I know it's nothing like what these guys do when they go defend our country and go out in the military, but it must be a similar feeling, like you're about to just be tested, right? Yeah. You're about to, everything you do that moment matters,
2 men enter, 1 man leaves.
Sorry?
It's like 2 men enter, 1 man leaves.
Yeah. And it's as equal as it can be, right? Same weight, usually same skill level, same weapons for tools, So it's very equal, and it's a good test, and it's a good thing for us to put ourselves in a little zone of discomfort for a moment there. And
now the second part of his question was, do you feel pressure and anxiety? Like, he was talking about, he likes the rush of going out to what you're saying, like to go out and show my art, show what I've learned. But do you feel pressure and anxiety? Like, it's like maybe more, I think even older competitors or people that have competed a lot, I know for like a first time competitor, usually that pressure and that anxiety of the unexpected. Do you still feel elements of that, or is it?
Yeah, I think it's still there, it still exists, but it's more controllable. Are you able to know how to deal with it? At one point I remember feeling like my heart is like racing, like the days before, the night before, but to like embrace that and just be like, let that uplift you, you know, that adrenaline. And instead of like running away from it, just
feed off of it. Yeah.
Towards it, embrace it. So, yeah, I mean, I think less and less of that as you gain more experience, and you just feel like you build that confidence in yourself. You always know that there's a chance like you might not perform the way you want to, but I think, yeah, I mean, it's a good thing overall, you know, to have that.
Very cool. So we're gonna we've got a list of questions that we ask every. This is towards the end of the show here. We've got a list of questions that these are like probably the most popular questions that people submit. It's always like the same questions, so we just put them into a group and we ask every guest the same group of questions. We call it
the drill down.
That's our sound effects guy, right? So, all right. So we're going to run through these. We can expand on them if you want. It's not a speed round or anything like that. But so we'll start off with your preference, gi or no gi?
Generally gi these days.
Yeah. Okay. Now, takedown or pull guard?
Depends what I'm fighting, but you know, I'm in favor of takedowns more and more, you know, but a lot of times in my competition, you see me pull guard a bunch, and I've been known to be an aggressive guard puller.
Okay. So. Music during rolling, yes or no?
I like to have music. I like to have something during rolling, otherwise a little too serious.
Yeah, it gets a little too quiet, right?
The library.
What's your preference? You have control over the music. What are you putting on?
Something that's motivating, but of course, like, you know, just thinking as like a good business person, nothing that's like offensive in any way, you know, or that's going to scare anybody away, or also put anybody to sleep, you know what I mean? Or people feel, you know, we're not looking like for romantic music. We're not looking for like, I want to kill you music, just something motivating. And then it's hard, man. It's hard to find good playlists actually.
Yeah.
And like sometimes my and the other instructors are playing, you know, death metal and stuff, and I'm like, you know, I wonder if everybody's really into this, or, you know, or if it's like a certain type of music that has a lot of profanity.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, you gotta.
my coach always has control over the music, but what's funny is they'll put a playlist on, and then for some reason, like there'll be like a random like slow love song. Yeah. And he'll like, no matter what he's doing, he'll be like, oh my God, turn that off, you know? And I like to mess with him a little bit. I've been with him for 7 years. I feel like whether he likes it or not, I feel comfortable enough to like joke around a little bit in class. So I'll usually start to sing a song like that while I'm rolling, and or sing to my opponent, to my training partner, just to get under his skin a little bit. But don't tell him that. Okay, so we were talking about videos and BJJ fanatics and things like that. Are you somebody who watches a lot of jiu-jitsu? You know, are you watching the WNOs? Are you watching the Fight to Wins? Or is it like an accountant? I'm an accountant all day long. I don't want to go home and look at numbers. What is it like for you?
Yeah, I like to watch live events when they're happening. I like to watch good matches, but I'm not really the guy that, you know, goes back and studies a ton of videos. You know, just me personally. I just like to just get it done. Somebody show me real quick and let's do it. You know, but for me to sit in front of the screen too long, you know, it's usually not really for me. But I do like to watch something, especially if it's live.
Yeah. Are you an MMA fan at all? Obviously, UFC is so closely associated with, you know, the Gracie family founding the UFC. Is that something that you still follow or follow at all?
Yeah, well, I watch it a bit, but I don't follow it as much as jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. My coach tends to only put on, he's from Brazil, he only puts on or watches the fights when it's like the main event is like a big Brazilian name who's like known for their jiu-jitsu. He'll watch those. He definitely wants to see those. So ultimate goal in the world of jiu-jitsu, what do you want your legacy to be?
I'm really happy with where I am. You know, I think it's funny. People always ask, like, you know, these upcoming athletes, and I've been asked so many times, so what's the goal? What's the goal for this year? What's your next, you know, conquest? And, you know, I just think you just got to enjoy the journey though. Every moment, every piece of your training, you know, and just the lifestyle, you know, just embracing the lifestyle. So I'm really content with where I am, and I'm enjoying the teaching side of it as well. But always up for new challenges, whether that's like trying to find somebody to be a better athlete as a student athlete, or myself getting becoming challenged in new ways. But I think the next one, and this is a long-term one, is like being that coach that is doing the best they can for their students. So
okay, I like that answer. So our very last question. This is we joke around and call this the most important question that you'll ever be asked about jiu-jitsu. We have an internal argument here.
What do you mean it's not?
When I started the podcast, it was actually me and 5 friends. That changed with COVID, but originally it was me and 4 other people sitting around talking about jiu-jitsu, and then we started inviting guests, and it evolved. But the question is, do you or do you not wash your belt?
Yeah. I'll just tell you the truth. I don't wash it too often. There is that old stereotype that I was taught, like when I was a little kid, like, you wash away your knowledge or something. But I have washed my belt. I'm not really I'm not very superstitious. And, but I have one time left my belt in my backpack for like a while. Like I would always take out my gi, wash my gi, and I would just leave my belt. And then after a while, I'm like, what is that smell, man? Like, something is more. Did you wash your gi? It's not my gi. I'm like, look, I washed the gi. I showered, I promise. And then it took some time to figure out, but I was like, it's been my belt this whole time,
Okay.
That's a familiar story. That's a very familiar story.
You have to wash that belt.
Yeah, I do. I am a belt washer. I do get a lot of shit for it. I have started to spray. We have a sponsor called Neutral Zone. They have cleaning products, and they have a spray. So I actually spray it a lot now. I won't wash it all the time. I've gotten a lot of crap from, like, we had Wagner on and some other people that have given me shit for no, it's not just the washing away the knowledge. That was the old school thing, but he's just like, it makes it look like you've trained more, like you're trying to fake that you've trained more. It was never that. I have actually got 2 belts. I've got one that my coach gave me when I got my brown belt, and it's super brown, and I didn't wear it a lot because I wore a belt the sponsor gave me, and that one's a lot more faded. I don't care. I switch it up. I go back and forth. I never thought of that as a student, but as a coach, people have told me oh no, you're trying to make it look like you've trained a little bit more than you actually have. So, so anyway, so we got you as a belt washer. That's good. We'll take you on our side. So, listen, thank you very much for doing this. We really appreciate it. I do want to give you a minute or take your time. Do you have anybody that you want to give a shout out to? Talk about your BJJ fanatics. Give your IG. Any of that stuff. The floor is yours.
Well, first I want to just thank Leon Optics Sunglasses for connecting me with you and setting up this interview. That's been awesome. Yeah.
There we go.
It's good stuff. That's jiu-jitsu sunglasses.
Lionel's awesome. He's been great. He's taken care of us a lot. So we love working with him. Yeah,
he's awesome. Good local guy here in San Diego. And people can reach out to me on Instagram, just at Clark Gracie. I have some BJJ fanatics instructionals. But one thing I'm also really excited about is building my online video library, which I'm filming every week, the techniques that I'm teaching in my classes. And it's called Clark Gracie Connected.
Okay.
It's been a fun project, and it's just subscription based. So that's something that I tell people, it's a way for me to stay connected with people all around, all my affiliates that are just spread all over the world, and they can kind of, see what I'm doing at home. Things that I'm excited about teaching and training on a regular basis. So it's been fun.
That's awesome. And people can hit you up on your IG if they're interested in having you come out to do a seminar at their gym. Is that where normally people would connect with you?
Yeah, a lot of time is there. Yeah.
Okay.
Facebook,
perfect.
There, email, my website, clarkgracie.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, again, thank you very much. Like I said, don't hang up. We're going to come take a couple of pictures. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it. And, come back whenever you got something going on. We really appreciate it. All right, man?
Right on. Thanks.
All right. Yes. Take care. Hold on.
Thank you to Neutral Zone CBD, a combat family-owned company that supports athletes and the people who love them. Neutral Zone strives to deliver clean CBD products for sports recovery in gummies, lotions, balms, roll-ons, and more. After a competition, a hard rolling session, or a tough day on the job, Neutral Zone has a product designed to help you reduce inflammation, increase cell rejuvenation, and may even help with aging joints. Visit NeutralZoneCBD.com and get 25% off your order with code JJD. And follow them on Instagram too, at MyNeutralZone. Jiu-Jitsu's favorite monthly subscription box has now joined the Jiu-Jitsu Dummies podcast. The BJJ box is delivered to your door filled with premium jiu-jitsu and grappling apparel, equipment, supplements, supplies, snacks, and more. The crew at the BJJ box find the best in the world of jiu-jitsu and guarantee every box to be worth more than the cost. Each box includes 4 to 7 items you're going to love. Visit thebjjbox.com and use code JJD10 to get $10 off your very first box. And give them a follow on Instagram at thebjjbox. Special thank you to the crew over at Flow and Roll for all their support. Flow and Roll is renowned for their incredible no-gi rash guards, shorts, and leggings. Flow and Roll has quickly become the premier custom apparel provider for academies big and small throughout the United States. Reach out today to discuss your custom order and ask about their incredible pre-order program. You can send an email to flowandroll@gmail.com or visit their Instagram at flow_n_roll and shoot them a direct message. And yes, they can create an awesome custom gi for your academy as well. Visit flowandroll.com to check out their awesome designs, and while you're there, pick up a Jiu-Jitsu Dummy signature tee exclusively at flowandroll.com. And remember, you'll get 20% off your purchase of t-shirts, rash guards, or gis with code JJD.
All right, very cool. What do you think, Bo?
Very interesting.
Very cool guy.
Our first Gracie.
Yeah, first Gracie.
And he's a very cool guy, very chill.
Cheers to
cheers. Cheers.
So yeah, very very cool. I'm like, it's funny because that picture that we were talking about is like an iconic picture of not only of him but the whole meme thing that ensued afterwards.
Yeah.
To this day, it's still.
And it's a very strange move. I was sitting here looking at it, trying to dissect it.
If you saw that omoplata it's not so crazy when you see it on the floor, but to see somebody stand up with it, like that guy's arm is like this stuck over his hip.
It's like a Kimura in a triangle, a leg triangle.
You could kind of call it doing a Kimura with your legs on somebody. I guess, you can say that. That's a good observation.
And he's interlocking and then doing a back grab with a leg.
If you're on the ground, you're basically holding the guy so he can't roll over, and his leg is stuck.
The other guy doesn't look very happy.
As you lean forward, his arm is going further up.
If you look at the other guy, he's not very happy.
No, he's not.
He's concentrating. How do I keep my arm? It's about to break.
You know
off.
what? You're hoping that the guy's going to slide off, and that's not the case.
No, he looks pretty settled in there. Like his legs are really tied together.
That's why he just looks like he's looking at the time. So. All right, check us out at Jiu-Jitsu Dummies for all the ways to watch, listen, and support the show. My IG is Uncle Milty BJJ. And Bo?
At BADWERKS.
All right, we're going to keep it short and sweet today. Thank you for watching and listening, everyone. Peace, love, Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
Hey, we didn't forget this time.
I'm going to put that in.